Hi, I'm Max Clark. Microsoft Teams did something incredible, and it's a testament to Microsoft's legacy and lineage as a software manufacturer with a partner ecosystem. And so what they did with Microsoft Teams is they created a software stack for their physical endpoints that they control. So if you look at it and you go and you buy a Microsoft Teams endpoint, so a phone on the desk, a conference room device, anything that connects to Microsoft Teams, what you're experiencing is you're experiencing hardware made by the manufacturer and the software made by Microsoft. Microsoft controls the interface for Teams across all of their clients. So if you're using Teams on the desktop, it's going to look the same way as Teams on the phone. Why is that? Microsoft built it. Microsoft controls it. This is very different from every other, we'll use the Gartner term, every other UCaaS company on the market. If you are using RingCentral, 8x8, Dialpad, Zoom, go down the list of these companies, and if you buy a physical endpoint, you buy a physical phone or a conference room device, your experience with that device is whatever software is implemented by that phone manufacturer. So you're getting a Polycom interface, you're getting a Yealink interface, you're getting a Snome interface, you're getting a Grandstream interface, and there's a very loose connection between that UCaaS experience and the actual phone. Right. Now, this gets extremely frustrating when we start talking about the legacy phone manufacturers and their transition from on-premise equipment to some sort of cloud device. Cisco manufactures their phones. Why is the experience on the phone different from the soft phone on the computer? Why are these such different experiences? Mitel actually tried to buy Polycom and couldn't. And Mitel exited the entire cloud business in a very strange way. Avaya came out with a phone which was a 7 or 8 inch diagonal TFT screen running Android. And when this phone was released, it was, for a nerd like me, it was incredibly exciting because now all of a sudden Avaya could deliver the same soft phone, a unified experience for their soft phone from a PC, from a Mac, from a mobile device, whatever it is, down to the phone, and the user can see the same interface and it looks the same. And then of course Avaya ships this device. I have one over here on my table. Avaya ships this device and then implements a clone of their physical phone previous stack. You take a beautiful color screen and you put it on this, and then you give it an interface, that looks like it came out of 2005, and you're just like, this company is going to go under, short the stock immediately. And I find this to be one of those, it's a missed opportunity, but it's also really a signal on focus on the user experience and what kind of user experience these companies are driving and are paying attention to. If you are not focused on and paying attention to the user experience end to end, everywhere that user is going to interact with your service, what is the quality of your service and what is the quality of that user experience supposed to be? And a lot of these UCaaS platforms are trying to push, a transition away from a physical endpoint and onto just soft phones, and this expectation that everybody's just going to have a Bluetooth headset or some sort of USB powered, some sort of headset on and interacting with a soft phone on this device, on their laptop all the time. And in a lot of places that work, but there's lots of places where that just doesn't work. First off, it's a convenience thing. When you sit down at a desk and there's a physical device on your desk and that device can ring, or you can make calls, or you can pick it up and you can interact with it, it's a really nice experience. Wall Street Journal had an article. I saved it. I actually need to frame it. And the headline of the article, something like, it has 1 million buttons and I don't know what any of them do. And And it was a professor at a university's quote, and it wasn't just a math or computer science professor or something. So, it was even more absurd when you actually put it into context. And this professor had taken the phone off their desk and put it into their drawer of their desk and just refused to use it. And the complaint was I can't figure out how to navigate or use the interface. And it's comical, but it really shows the issue that an enterprise has to deal with when you are talking about rolling out some sort of platform at scale. If you're rolling out a platform to a SMB, you have less than 100 users, you can go touch each user and sit down with them and explain them how the platform works and answer questions and make sure that they're using it and all these different things. You can accomplish that. Now, scale it up to 1,000 people. It takes a while to go touch each one of those people, especially because you have different times and people are in the office at different times. And now you have to talk about resourcing and how big is your team that can actually go out and do that. Now multiply this again, make it 5,000 5,000 people, make it 10,000 people, put this across 10 different physical locations. These things get harder and harder and harder. So having a consistent user experience that is familiar across whatever device that the user is interacting with becomes a huge differentiation in adoption, ease of use, satisfaction. Use whatever metric that you want to express this in language that actually makes sense to you. And it's incredible to me that this hasn't been addressed or focused on in any really meaningful way, especially as we talk about the handset manufacturers and the conference room devices. Conferencing is incredible. The most popular conference platforms on the market, you need a cheat sheet to figure out how to work them. Walk into a conference room at any office building and you're going to find hardware with instruction manual on how to join a conference off that device. This is not the experience that we should be giving our users in today's world. It's a huge miss, and it's something that I would love to see changed, and I'm hoping at some point, and at this point, who's got enough juice? I don't know. Maybe RingCentral is going to go buy a hardware manufacturer. I don't think RingCentral actually is going to buy a hardware manufacturer. Maybe Zoom has enough juice where they can push their experience onto the endpoint and copy what Microsoft Teams has done. They do it to some degree with conferencing. Maybe they do it with phones. Zoom, if you're listening, do this to your phones. As these platforms like Ericsson has acquired Vonage, is Ericsson going to release and integrate hardware with a software interface and make a common experience? I don't know. We haven't seen anything to suggest it. It'd be really nice. Ericsson, this is something you should do. It'd be a big differentiator. It'd be really nice. I don't expect Mitel or Avaya to do it. Why? Because they decided to get completely out of this business in the first place. If you've got an on-premise Avaya platform, Avaya's plan for you at this point is to make you a RingCentral customer that they're reselling. Avaya's implemented their infrastructure on top of RingCentral and are migrating people to RingCentral effectively. Mitel did this even stranger, where they didn't even bother to implement their stack on top of RingCentral. They just said, hey, we're a referral partner to RingCentral now. So if you have an on-premise Mitel system and you want to stay in the Mitel ecosystem, there's no migration path for you. You're just on an island, and then at some point you're going to switch to something else. It's incredibly disjointed. It makes no sense. There are lots of issues with Microsoft Teams. I'm not going to say Microsoft Teams is a perfect platform by any stretch of the imagination. There are a lot of things that it does not do that make absolutely no sense in today's world. Case in point, text messaging. Why is text messaging and SMS not a native integrated feature with Microsoft Teams if you voice enable it? I don't know. Maybe by the time you're watching this video, they do it. Who knows? As of right now, if you want to SMS enable Microsoft Teams, you have to pay for an new app integration on top of Microsoft Teams, which works great on desktop, but then on your cell phone, you have to run the app separately because you can't run apps inside of the Teams client on a cell phone. This stuff is crazy. It's who owns the product and the product directions for these companies, and why is there not a product owner that can care and do this stuff end to end? So if you've struggled with this, you're absolutely right. The answer is this is disjointed. There's no right answer here. It's just we're dealing with trade-offs now. What is the best trade-off for you, and how does that get implemented, and what functionality do you need, and what do you currently have? We get into these kind of conversations, and that then drives it. Do you need a physical device on the desk? Some people want them, some people don't want them. It almost becomes like a person-by-person thing inside of an organization. But if you've got break rooms, if you've got touchdown stations, if you've got hot desking, if you have any sort of warehousing, if you've got a hospital, guess what? You've got physical devices in your areas because you have to have telephony and collaboration available at those locations. There you are. And what does that experience look like for your users? And how is it consistent? And is it giving you what you actually need and want? I'd love to hear your comments on this and what your thoughts are. Let me know in the comments below. I'm Max Clark. Talk to you soon.
Feeling.